heaviest weight a human being can carry is the weight of a dream that was never real. Most people never really think about this, but we don't enter relationships looking for a person. We enter looking for a feeling, and then we look for a story that explains that feeling. Chemistry, relief, hope. And suddenly, it isn't just attraction. It's meaning. A story about how love should feel. A story about how life should unfold. A story about how once we find the right person, everything should just finally make sense. And when reality doesn't match the story, we don't question the story. We assume that something is wrong with the relationship. Long before we ever fell in love, we were trained how to imagine it. Fairy tales, romantic films, songs about destiny and soulmates, they all teach the same frame that there is the one, and love arrives fully formed. And if it's real, it shouldn't be this hard. As adults, we laugh at this. We say, I know life isn't a Disney movie, but behavior tells the truth. The moment a relationship feels like effort, people don't say, maybe we need a better strategy. They say, maybe we're just not meant to be. Most couples are walking around with an invisible contract in their pockets. It sounds reasonable. It even sounds mature. It says, I'm realistic. I don't expect perfection. I just expect you to make me feel safe, desired, understood, and chosen without me having to ask. That's not realism. That's fantasy with better branding. Every time that you feel disappointed proves that there was an expectation, because you can't be let down by something that you weren't silently relying on. Disappointment isn't random. It's evidence. This gets layered on top of modern culture. We live in a world where if something doesn't work, we replace it. Phone, car, job. Dating apps didn't create this mindset. They just revealed it. We don't ask, how do I build something? We ask, is that the best option for me? So relationships become shopping. Profiles instead of people. Preferences instead of patience. Potential instead of presence. The tragedy is that shopping gives the illusion of control, but it destroys the capacity for commitment. Children are trained to believe that love is about recognition. You recognize the right person. You feel the spark. You just know. Adults who build lasting relationships understand that love is about construction. It's built through repair, adjustment, learning, staying. Recognition is passive and construction is active. Recognition asks, do you fit my dream? Construction asks, what is it we're building together? One creates consumers, the other creates partners. The part that most people resist is that you don't improve your relationship by trying harder to fulfill the dream. You improve it by letting the dream die. Not the relationship, the fantasy. The fantasy that someone else will complete your emotional life. The fantasy that effort means failure. The fantasy that freedom comes from options. Freedom comes from capability, from knowing how to stay, how to repair, how to build something real. If love feels disappointing right now, that doesn't mean you chose wrong. It means you were trained wrong. You weren't taught how relationships actually work. You were sold a story. You might realize by now that this channel isn't about romance. It's about learning the real mechanics of connection, trust, and repair. Because love isn't found, it's built. And building requires a different way of seeing. Next week, we'll look at why shopping for love feels logical and why it quietly destroys the thing people want most.